Hey, good evening. It's Monday, April 10th. And thanks so much for being here. Welcome to Everyday Talk 24/7. It was really wonderful to just go through Easter week with you last week and just kind of work through that narrative in a documentary type fashion. So thanks so much for all of you for just being here with me. This week, we'll kind of get back to normal with our videos and the things we're talking about. I'm going to talk about some of the nuances of sin this week. Not so much the obvious sins, but the sins that make us think we're doing the right thing. So it's not like you're robbing a bank or something. It's more subtle than that. Sin has the opportunity to make you think that you're being wise. Sin has the opportunity, and has really, by the design in its most powerful form, to make you think that you're being wise. So that's what happens, say, for example, with doubt. I think doubt is something that's reasonable. It seems like it's a wise choice, when in fact, it's doubting God and it's sin. But it doesn't appear that way. It appears reasonable. And also this week, before I get too far into it, we're going to have our Q&A Friday this Friday. We've already got 3 really good questions. If you want to send in some of your own questions, please feel free to do it. I love the Q&A Fridays with you, and so be thinking about your questions, and just go ahead, either contact me through everydaytalk247.com, or just leave a question in the comment section. Again, thank you so much for participating in that as well. Okay. Let's get into tonight's topic, the video. And sin makes doubt appear to be wise, or seem to be wise, or seem wise. How does it do that? It's a very subtle questioning of God. So it's not necessarily an overt thing. I'm so angry I can smash him in the face. Well, we can all figure out that that's not very helpful. But is this thing that I think is the right thing to do, is it really wise? I need to think about this. Well, there's a great story in the narrative in 1 Kings about Elijah. I'm going to read that for you. This is, Elijah has caused, at the word of God, has caused the rain to stop in Israel because they've been disobeying God, so the rain has stopped for 3 years. Example of climate control, if you will. And then finally, at the end of that time, God sends word through Obadiah to meet with Elijah and then with Ahab to say that we're going to meet together. So Ahab immediately blames Elijah for the issues, for the lack of rain. He says, "Is that you troubler of Israel?" Ahab says. And then Elijah responds, "I have not made trouble for Israel, but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table. So bring along 850 of your buddies, prophets, against me, the only prophet of God." So he tells them to do that. So Ahab sent word throughout all Israel, and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Elijah went before the people and said, "How long will you waver or hesitate between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." And the response of the people is deafening. The people have said nothing. You see, that is doubt masquerading as wisdom. Because they're thinking, well, we don't want to be on the wrong side here. Maybe God is going to bless Ahab. Maybe the prophets of Baal, all right, we need to kind of play it close to the vest and see what happens. But Elijah has given them this direct challenge. If God is God, serve him, regardless of the consequences. If Baal is God, serve him, But the people refused to answer. They refused to take a stand. Of course, we know what happens. God does answer Elijah and defeat the prophets of Baal. And now the people are on board. Yay, yay, we're all for it. But you see, they're still doubting. They're still unstable because no revival broke out in Israel after that. Nothing secure happened at all. They just continued to go deeper and deeper into sin. But what happens is sin, in this case, appeared to be wise by doubting. Let's wait and see what happens. Even though we've got a clear command of God from the prophet of God, let's not jump into this. Let's be wise. Well, on the thumbnail tonight, you see a wave. It talks about, reminds us of James chapter 1. I'm going to read that. And we ought to read, when we read this passage in 1 Kings, we ought to read this passage in James right along with it. If any of you lacks wisdom, beginning James chapter 1, verse 5, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, being tossed and blown about by the wind. That man should not think that he receives anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. You see, that's what the problem was with Israel. They weren't sure. So they're going to be wise. They're going to be careful. This idea of trusting God and the Word of God over the king, I don't know about that. It's kind of risky. So they held back. We have the Word of God right here in front of us. It's even better than the word from Elijah. But sometimes we're not really sure. Can I really trust what the Word of God says? What if I lose out? What if it doesn't go the way I want it to? What if it gets worse instead of better? Let's see what happens. See, that comes across. What the evil one does is make us think that that's wisdom. It makes us think that doubt is wise. But brothers and sisters, it's not wise. It's doubt, it's sin. And it makes you about as stable as the waves going back and forth. If you watch the waves come in, they come into the beach and then they run right back out. And they'll carry something with it in and carry it back out. It's double-mindedness, it's unstable. When you are doubting what the Word of God says, and it's clear, and you just want to see what happens before you make a decision, that's called doubt. And that will make you unstable, and will make you prey to all the ugliness of sin, and leave you trapped in its clutches. Sin makes doubt seem wise. But all it is the trap of Satan. Don't go there. Trust the Word of God. Let your heart run to Him. Don't weigh this. I'm not talking about being foolish, but if the Word of God is clear, then don't hedge your bets. Don't hold back. Trust God. Ask Him for wisdom, and He will give it to you in abundance. And bring confidence, and not more worry, and not more double-mindedness. And that's the thought for this day. Again, thanks so much for being here. Looking forward to spending the rest of the week with you in Q&A Friday. So again, thanks so much for being here, and Lord bless you. Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Good night. Thank you so much for watching. It is such a huge encouragement.